We have to enable our team to understand why what they're doing matters. And so here's a 3-part framework that you can use to really bring this leadership superpower, this impact superpower to life, not for you, but for your team. Step number 1, you need to collect the right information, gather the right dots, gather the information you need for the picture. It can be purpose, it can be vision, it can be mission, plans, data, stories, but you need to connect the information. And it can be as simple as, here's where we are, here's where we're going, and here's what we need to do to get there. How can we help fill that? But we have to collect that. We have to have that packaged and ready in a manner that connects with our audience, in a manner that connects with the people that we're leading, in a manner that means something to ourselves, because there's nothing worse than standing up in front of folks and saying something you don't believe. Step number 1, collect the right information, package up the dots. Number 2, you have to cast those out. You have to connect them for the people. You have to put them on the page in the right order. You have to communicate them clearly, consistently, and repeatedly. And I've said this before, and I say it all the time because I believe it and because it's true. When we're tired of talking about it, it's only starting to sink in. And oftentimes we as leaders fall into this trap of believing that because we've said it once, it has been cast appropriately. And that's not the truth. What we have to do is continually repeat the most important things, to do it so many times that they echo. And so that echo carries on when we're not in the room. That's what casting is. We have to communicate all those dots that we've connected in the right order so that our teams can see the picture, so that our teams can understand. We have to connect the information. That's the ability to architect the picture. We have to cast it out. That's the ability to paint the picture. And then step number 3, we have to connect. We have to connect what they are doing, what their work is at a transactional level, and how it relates at a relational level to the image, to the story, to the communication that we are saying. And it can be anything. I remember a conversation once I had with our accounting team in car care, and we had this really clear, vivid purpose as an organization. Our job was to make sure that our customers had peace of mind knowing that their car would be in the best possible condition to get them to where they wanted to go. And a very tangible and real example was, if someone pulls out in front of you, we want to make sure that your car is in the right position to stop, to protect not only yourself, but also those that you love most who are in the car. Well, if you're a technician or if you're a service advisor, if you're somebody who is facing the customer, that's a really easy dot to connect. But how do you do that if you're in accounting? How do you do that if you're in administrative support? And someone asked me that question once in a town hall and said, hey, look, I get what we're here for, but I work in accounting. How does what I do have any impact at all on what you're talking about? And I said, that's a wonderful question. Here's how it works. What do you do? And this particular person was accounts payable. And I said, okay, your job is to make sure that our bills are captured accurately, our invoices are captured correctly, and to make sure they're paid on time and track them down. They said, yes. Okay. That's the transactional element of what we do. Here's what you really do. You ensure that those people on the front lines have access to the right resources and aren't distracted by administrative overhead, so they can focus on what matters most, the customer, doing the work. By your doing your job exceptionally well, you enable the person who is in front of the customer to ensure that the car is fixed exceptionally well. You enable them to do their job. So don't think for a second that your work doesn't matter. Your work has an incredible amount of meaning, and it's not transactional. It's a big piece of the machine, and it's an important piece of the machine, and it's part of how we are going to get to where we're going. And I could see the eyes light up. I could see the dots connect, literally. I could see the bells going off, and it became part of our ongoing conversation. Every time I visited our accounting teams, every time we had our team meetings, we would talk about, how does what you do connect to what we do as an organization? And we would always say, in fact, I would tell teams all the time, if for any reason you believe there's work that we're doing that doesn't have value, that doesn't move us forward, not only are you empowered to call it out, You're expected to, because we have to make sure we're eliminating waste and removing friction. That's part of our job. That's part of what we do as managers in an organization. Eliminate waste, reduce friction. One way to do that is to make sure that everyone understands how they fit in. And how we do that is by connecting the dots. Now I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute, because one of my biggest pet peeves is leaders who say, well, they're smart people, they'll figure it out. I'm not going to tell them what to do. I'm not going to give them any direction. And then here's the reason this is a big pet peeve for me. That's not leadership. That's abdication. That is ignorance. Because our job as leaders is to make sure people understand the vision. We can hire incredibly smart people and let them figure out how to make it come to life. In fact, Steve Jobs is famous for saying, hey, we don't hire smart people so we can tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do.